Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be talking about my high-end eyeshadow palette collection video. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys click on the subscribe button down below and also that bell so you get notified when I have a new video up. I basically do beauty, hair, lifestyle sort of like videos, and yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so first things first, yes, I've got greyish hair. I overtoned my hair. But yeah, my roots are still a bit yellow. Yeah, for now, just try and ignore this mess of a hair that I have at the moment. Alright, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the eyeshadow palettes that are in my collection that I consider higher end. So let's say over 50 Australian dollars. I do have cheaper palettes, drugstore palettes. So if you guys are interested in those as well, let me know and I'll do a follow-up video down in the comment box down below. But yeah, let us begin. Alright, so I'm just going to start off first with this palette. Now this one is by Stila, I don't know. This one is the Windows, this is the Eyes Are the Windows Soul palette. Very, very pretty packaging, very premium. As you guys can see, I've already hit pan on one of the shades. Obviously that is the one that I use for a transition, but I really like the color selection in this palette. I think it's a really good, I'd say like everyday work appropriate, and you can obviously make this into like a smoky eye sort of like palette as well. But yeah, I think it's got all the essential colors that you would need, a good selection of mattes and shimmers, and the shimmers are quite fine. They're not obnoxiously huge chunks of glitter, if that makes sense, the actual fine bits of shimmer. So yeah, I really like this one. It's also quite small, quite compact, so if you guys are traveling a lot, maybe this one is a good one to check out. I do have to admit, this eyeshadow palette collection of mine is quite big and it's growing. I never used to be into eyeshadows. I don't know, it just kind of like happened in the last few years. But yeah, anyway, we'll move on to the next. Alright, so this one is from Garbo and Kelly. I believe this is the only eyeshadow palette they have. This one is the Overnight Sensational eyeshadow palette. So it's got a mirror as well, and the packaging is quite interesting. It's got this, I don't know, like plasticky and like foamy kind of like packaging. It's really hard for me to describe, but you know, it's really nice and sleek as well. I believe it's cardboard underneath, and then when you open it, you know, you get a few colors that really grab your attention. So like that turquoise color, that pinky shade, and that orangey shade, and then everything else is sort of like your normal brown shades. So this is a really good palette as well. I honestly forget to grab this half the time. I mean, it's got all the essential colors that I would need if I'm just going for like a brownish color, like a brownie smoky eye, but it's also got these interesting colors as well. So you know, that turquoise color, I really need to do one where it's like an inner corner, but yeah, if you guys are interested, I can do that look with this palette. This one is by Anastasia Beverly Hills, my only Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palette. I really need to get more of them because they seem to be really good. I really want to get that soft glam eyeshadow palette. I'm waiting for it to be available in Australia. I'm pretty sure it's a permanent eyeshadow palette. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if it does end up, you know, being sold here in Australia, I'm definitely getting that one as well. But I fell in love with the formula with this eyeshadow palette, and also, you know, the color selection is amazing and everything just blends. If you guys have watched my Instagram mini tutorials, you guys would have seen that I use this quite often, and if you guys haven't followed me on Instagram, link will be down in the description box down below. But yeah, I really like the color selection, and it's definitely one of the eyeshadow palettes that I feel that really got me into eyeshadow palettes. Like, I've always had other eyeshadow palettes lying around, but this is the first one that I actually really, you know, really felt like wearing eyeshadow because of the color. Alright, let's move on to the Naked palettes. Now, I only have the Smoky one and the Naked Heat one. I did look at the other eyeshadow palettes they had in the range, and I don't know, the colors didn't really grab my attention, except for the first palette they came out with. That one was sort of interesting, but I didn't really feel like I could justify buying them because I have other eyeshadow palettes that are very similar, if that makes sense. Whereas these ones are definitely, I feel, a little bit more unique compared to those ones. So let's start off first with the Smoky palette. Yeah, Smoky palette. So packaging is very, very in line with the theme of smoky, and that's a nice color selection. So this is definitely more of a cool tone eyeshadow palette. What really grabbed my attention were these shades here, like the bluey shades. For me, a smoky eye that I would wear to a big event is definitely something that has blues, like navy blues. I don't know why, I just feel like it's the perfect big event eyeshadow color. So that's what really grabbed my attention with these shades, and I really like the fact that you've got these metallic shades on top as well. Now I think it was last year or the year before, warm smoky eyes was like the it thing on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure it still is. And this palette is pretty much the answer to your warm smoky eye cravings. It's this one from Decay again. This one is a Naked Heat palette. It's just so pretty. It has all the warm shades that you'd want, coppery tones, orangey, you know, just anything warm, it's all in here. Even the light shades are more, even the light shades are on the warmer tone as well. Dirty Talk and Scorch, those are like really pretty eyelid colors, and even without like spritzing your brush, these things are really pretty. And I do appreciate that they have more mattes in this one. I personally prefer an eyeshadow palette that has more mattes as opposed to shimmer. I feel like it's more versatile for like crease work. I don't know, that's just me personally. And I also like there's like 2 shades that are quite dark that you can use either or to define your crease, like at least what I would use to define my crease. Alright, let's move on to Too Faced. So the first one is a Mecca Anniversary Special Edition Funfetti palette. So this is what it looks like. I don't actually know what the original Funfetti palette looked like, but this one is again more on the cool tone side. This isn't exactly an eyeshadow palette that I would purchase for myself. This was actually sent to me, but it's got a decent selection of colors. I feel that this eyeshadow palette is a palette that I would use in conjunction with another eyeshadow palette, if that makes sense. It's got a decent selection of colors, don't get me wrong. I just feel that I need a little bit of warmth like in the crease, like a transition color, then I'd be able to use the rest of these. But the selection is pretty decent. You've got a dark brown, you've got medium browns, and then you have various pastel shades that you can play around with, like for lid colors, inner corner highlight and whatnot. So it's definitely a cute palette. I don't know, it's not a palette that I would, you know, grab at the store. Alright, we're gonna start with the eyeshadow palette that I really wanted to try. A lot of controversy when this first came out and the second time it came out, and then it became permanent. Sweet Peach, yeah, Sweet Peach. Just again going with the whole warm eyeshadow trend. It's just so pretty, and with these palettes they also have a scent. This one has got that sweet peachy scent. Really pretty. I really like the color selection. The only downside I feel with this eyeshadow palette is that it's not very peachy, if that makes sense. I mean, there are a few peach shades in there, but as you guys can see, there's like purples, there's greens, and I was just kind of like hoping for something like this. Like it was all kind of like very uniform sort of like color tones, whereas this one, you do have the peachy shades, you do have some of the warm shades, but then you get some of these odd colors that I wouldn't consider peach, but they're still pretty. I've done looks using these shadows. I just feel like, you know, it could have just all been peach. And then we have the original chocolate bar palette. So that's what it looks like. So I recently just got this, and this is what I'm wearing on my eyelids at the moment. And I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with this eyeshadow palette. First of all, the smell, chocolatey, very good. I like that. And just the design overall. I think with Too Faced's overall design, it's very Japanese anime princess, you know, that sort of like genre. It reminds me of that. Like that's what the whole aesthetic of the brand kind of reminds me of. But anyway, going back to the actual eyeshadow palette, I really like it. Again, as a person who has more like a hooded lid, I do appreciate working with a lot more mattes and darker shades to etch out my crease to get that definition, just because of the style of eyeshadow that I do. And they have some nice shimmery shades. Now I haven't tried all the shimmery shades on this palette. Again, this is just something I've recently picked up, but I am pretty happy with the selection. I do want to add the semi-chocolate, is it semi-sweet? Semi-chocolate, I don't know, the other one that kind of looks like this but with a blue one in it, to my collection as well. So I might grab that at some point because I'm pretty impressed with Too Faced's eyeshadow palette. And the last palette we're going to be talking about is this one. This is the chocolate gold palette. I love that chocolate design. I love that gold design. It's so pretty. and that is the selection of the colors. As you guys can see, the mirror, oh hello, you can see my camera. The mirror is definitely much bigger compared to the previous palettes. Let me just bring that one. So this is the original chocolate bar palette, and the mirror doesn't articulate all the way back, whereas this one does. It kind of goes flat. Honestly, when I first saw this palette online, I wasn't, I don't know, like blown away by the color selection. I just like, it looks alright, it's cute, whatever. I honestly never thought I would ever wear like these shades, but I've recently done like Mardi Gras makeup tutorials for brands, and I had to dip into some of these shades, and I'm actually in love with it, not gonna lie. The first thing that really turned me off with this palette when I first saw it online was it's just so many shimmers, not enough mattes. But then I thought, you know what, I have other palettes that have a lot of mattes. It's really not that big of a deal, so if I did add it to my collection, it's just like a palette that I would use on top of the other palettes, if that makes sense. But when I started doing the Mardi Gras makeup tutorials, I used this as a transition color, then this in the crease, and generally I don't use shimmery shades for crease work, but these shadows are really pigmented, so I could actually do some definition without it looking weird, if that makes sense, on the lid. And yeah, pretty impressed. Pigmentation is really good. I think Too Faced have done a better job with their shimmers in this palette than the other palettes, to be completely honest. So yeah, those are my higher end eyeshadow palettes. I don't own any like Marc Jacobs or anything like that. Those are like really expensive. I do want to try Huda Beauty because I know a lot of people really love Huda Beauty, but that's like $100 here in Australia, and I can't really bring myself to buying it unless I get invited to another event where they have a sale, and maybe, just maybe, or if I ever get on their PR list, which I highly doubt. If you had to ask me which ones are my absolute favorites, this one takes the #1 spot. I have to admit, this is like my favorite, absolute favorite eyeshadow palette. Like if I had an event and I really wanted to just take one eyeshadow palette, this would be the one, because just the selection of colors is just really good. My #2 would be this one, the Naked Heat palette, just because, again, I like warm shades, and like a basic warm eyeshadow like Smoky Eye is just amazing. A #3, look, it would have to be the Sweet Peach palette. #4 would have to be Stila. Just because, again, the color selection is just, it is quite basic, I have to admit, but it's so versatile. You can do so many looks with this, like daytime, smoky, like it's very versatile. #5 would have to be the original chocolate bar palette, just because selections of browns, and those purples. If you guys would like to see a lower end spectrum, like drugstore eyeshadow palettes, then definitely let me know down in the comment box down below. Definitely do that for you guys. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to thumbs up the video if you guys enjoyed. Tell me down in the comment box down below what is your favorite high-end eyeshadow palette. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.